Welcome back, everyone. Appreciate it. We're getting this rolling a little bit later than I had hoped, but let's jump right in. I'm going to do a little screen share. First of all, I'm going to introduce this connection of mine in Japan. Actually, there right now doing some groundwork, which I don't necessarily always recommend. But Chris had mentioned that it's an important thing in Japanese culture. The obviously relationships are important anywhere, but I think even more so they value trust and relationships and kind of the honor concept. And people even more than here want to know that they're aligning with the right company that's got focus and an attention to customer value and customer satisfaction. And so as happens a lot of times when your prospect jumps online, they check out Better Business Bureau and JD Powers and things like that. And I think sometimes we take for granted just how good we have it, because of course we're great on Better Business Bureau A+ rating. Because we're a very large, sizable company. We do have some negative reviews out there. That happens when you're $1.5 billion a year. So put into perspective, that's not too bad. Well, hold on a second. Need to put some earphones on. Can everyone hear and see me okay? Let me just make sure. Get a quick sound and video check. I think we're good. Somebody just let me get some confirmation that folks can see and hear us okay on the chat board there, if you would, guys. Okay, we're good. Fantastic. And so it got me thinking, he asked me to put together some stuff to help deal with that. And I was looking at Better Business Bureau, and what got me thinking is that it's really not the best place to review really any company, because the Better Business Bureau is where people go to complain. Honestly, somebody's saying audio is low. Hopefully, if I hold my mic, it'll probably be a little better. That's the default place that you go to complain for any company, not just Ambit, in any industry. That's where people just instinctively head. And it got me thinking about the JD Powers Awards that we've won, which are numerous over the years. And I was recently at the corporate office, and they have all the JD Powers on one table, and it's just really impressive to see all those. And I was thinking, I wonder if anybody's ever really compiled it all together. We've won #1 rating in many states and over the course of different years. But I was thinking to myself, JD Power's been doing this in the retail energy industry now for 4 or 5 years, and we could really take that and show that over the course of time and across multiple markets, Ambit has a really good, consistent track record. And so that's exactly what I did. I actually paid somebody to do a lot of number crunching, and I'm going to show that for you here, and I'm going to publish it in a post tomorrow. Let's see here. Let me see if I can get this screen share to work properly. There it is. Okay. Application window. There we go. All right. Hopefully everyone can see that. You might need to zoom in. I don't know. Let's see here. Okay. So the compilation is right here. And let me see if I can maybe zoom in to make that a little clearer for folks to see. There we go. So what I did is, JD Powers rates retail energy providers in something like 8 states now, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. And, they've been doing that for 4 or 5 years. So I took literally in this shot right here, I took every single JD Power rating over the past 5 years since they started rating retail energy providers, every single one of them for every single company, and combined them. So this is the data set that I worked from. And I took that, and then we averaged each company for each year. So going back to this other one here, I'm sorry, each company for each state. So as an example, looking at Ambit here, these scores you're seeing, as an example, 730 in Texas. That's an average of the last 5 years of JD Power ratings. Okay. And Maryland, the 667, that we only have one JD Power rating in Maryland. I think it's the most recent year, 2016. And so that's an average of 1. So it's just 1 year data set. And so each of those, for each company, for each state, that's an average of all the years of compilated data. And I did that for every single company, and then obviously took that and averaged it out across all the multiple states. Now, the only thing I did here is I got rid of companies that only received a JD Power rating in 2 or less states. So if you haven't received a JD Power rating in at least 3 or more states, then you didn't make the list, because, to be quite honest with you, you're not big enough to really do any type of even remote apples to apples comparison. And by doing that without any manipulation whatsoever, Ambit Energy right off the bat is number 2 overall rated company in the history of JD Powers for retail energy providers, which, guys, that's staggering. I mean, we're kind of used to winning awards. Ambit's used to being number 1. We're used to being on top. And so this really is, I guess, could kind of look at it as a little bit ho-hum, but that's really staggering when you think about it. And overall, we are the number 1 winner in 3 out of the 7 states that we compete in. Connecticut, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey, and very close runner-ups in the rest, which is how we got, to number 2. But the thing about that is that when you look at it, Green Mountain Energy is the only company that beats us in an overall satisfaction rating. But here's the key. They only got rated in 4 states. We're rated in 7 states. And the overall number of reviews, when you go back through the multiple years, we have 23 ratings to their 11. Obviously, the more you get rated, the harder it is to maintain a high level of satisfaction across multiple markets, across multiple years. So even that isn't really a realistic comparison. If you really want to pare it down and compare apples to apples, there's really only 2 other companies we compete against that have been rated anywhere in the ballpark number of times, and that's Direct Energy and Energy Plus, that have 29 ratings each to our 23, and our rating is dramatically higher than both. So it's interesting, and by the way, just because a company doesn't have a rating in a given state doesn't mean that they don't do business there. It just means that the way JD Powers works, and the reason this is such a much better barometer to measure customer satisfaction than something like a Better Business Bureau is because people don't go to JD Powers to complain. JD Powers reaches out and sends surveys every single year. They do fresh new surveys. They send them out into the marketplace, and then they hear back, to the entire spectrum of customers, both, satisfied and non-satisfied and everywhere in between, to get an actual real third-party assessment. And if a company doesn't get back enough responses in what they send out, then they just don't get ranked, because you have to have enough responses to be statistically relevant, which is why not every company shows up. But it's a good indication, the companies, when you look at it in the history of JD Powers, we have received, we're the 3rd most rated company out there, 23. We're kind of late to the game compared to a lot of these companies as far as expansion goes, but we caught up quickly and obviously established a good presence, which is why we got rated so often. But it's really telling. And when you look at this from a prospect standpoint, if you're seeing the opportunity, maybe you're still hanging around, you just watched the presentation, you just heard from Richard, and now you're seeing this, keep in mind that this is a part of what Richard was saying, that the company you're looking at here, we're not new to this. This is something that the stories have been built with Ambit over the course of the past 10 years, and Ambit's story as a company, it didn't happen overnight, but this type of credibility is incredible to take to, prospects across the street or across the globe. Certainly this is a word of mouth business, and you got to put your reputation on the line with your friends, your family, people like and trust. That's where the business is built. And you want to know that you're putting your reputation on the line with a company that's got your back. And any way you look at it, statistically or, empirically, whatever, Ambit has the clearest track record of being that company. We've got the stats, and we've got the trophies to show for it. And so, just know that you're in a good place. You're in a safe place to build a business that's built on your reputation. Because Ambit's built an incredible reputation over the past 10 years. And it's especially staggering considering, and Richard, you can jump in at any time, by the way. I'm sure you could share a lot too. But the thing that I think about on this, Richard, is that it's especially staggering, these numbers, considering that Ambit didn't just achieve such a high satisfaction, but this was all done in catch up. We were the fastest growing company in America, #1. And continue to be the fastest growing. It's really hard to maintain customer satisfaction when you're growing exponentially like Ambit has. And that's an important thing to keep in mind as you're looking at a lot of these numbers, is that, just like it's really hard to have a ground floor opportunity with a solid, stable, proven company like Ambit is, it's really hard to maintain customer satisfaction when you're growing so darn fast. And that's what makes these figures just mind-boggling to me. So that's the data that I wanted to share. I'm going to put that up on a detailed post on Ambit Pros tomorrow. You guys can check it out. It's kind of got to be formatted so you can see it on the web pretty good. But I just wanted to share that because it got me super excited. I got to tell you, especially as we're looking, to open up a new market that doesn't have an Ambit history. It's really powerful to have these kind of tools and this kind of track record behind us. So, that being said, anything you wanted to add on that, Richard?
Well, I mean, one, it's obvious the company has never gotten complacent. And then growth and that kind of stickiness of customers being satisfied is, people always ask what makes Ambit work. Really, it comes down to the Velcro, which is the relationship. We're not running a slick ad campaign. We're not door knocking. We're not doing any of that gimmicky stuff. So, it's relationship upon relationship upon relationship. So we have the best ground game out there in the energy market, but we've done it right because our co-founders set a pretty high bar, that we weren't going to settle for reckless behavior. We were going to make sure that we achieved, these results and these stats. So we never have to look over our shoulder. And then we just talk about this as it pertains to Japan. I mean, there's a lot of companies that try to go to Japan too soon because they think, because Japan's the 3rd largest network marketing country in the world, oh, well, we go there, we strike gold and we take it all in. Well, here's the thing. They're pretty smart. And so we're walking in there as a 10-year company plus in revenue, multiple billions of dollars in revenue. I don't know what the total, that'd be a great total, Sean, if you have that, is the total revenues for the 10 years. I don't know if you've got that ready at
I don't have that.
That's billions of dollars that we've managed in energy, but we're coming in there as an A-rated company prepared to launch our systems and our opportunity into there. And I just think it's going to be, amazing for the Japanese folks that are over there looking to take advantage of a real solid, sustainable opportunity. And so all I can tell you guys is, as it pertains to Japan, just like any market that we're in or that you want to be in, play the who do you know game. Hey, Bob, who do you know lives in Connecticut? Who do you know lives in Massachusetts? Oh, by the way, Bob, who do you know lives in Japan? Why are you asking me all these questions? It's because that's where I'm building my business, and I'm building my business off referrals. So it's just a great way to break the ice and open things up. Don't be weird. Don't be silly with your friends and family about this business. As Sean just went over, you don't get those awards by not shooting this straight down the middle and knocking it out of the park each and every time. So just be real. Don't be gimmicky with your friends and family.
Absolutely. That is how we got here. Let's keep that philosophy alive as we go international. So transition you just a little bit, Richard, if you wouldn't mind. I want to grab your head here while we've got it, because you don't have this opportunity to pick your brain every day, and certainly everyone watching here from across the world now. There's a couple questions I always love to ask, especially a guy like you that's been doing this for a couple of years, just like me. If you had to do it all over again, you and Mary start all over. Besides, not being a bonehead and saying no at first, like I did as well. We're in good company there. Um, what would you do different? Looking back, are there some decisions you made that maybe you could have improved, and how that might impact somebody that's looking to get started here tonight?
Yeah. Well, I don't have a lot of regrets, but one of my regrets is that first 6 months in the business, not believing sooner and bigger. I mean, just that first 6 months, if I would have just believed a little bit bigger, a little bit sooner, who knows where my business would be today. The other thing is, even though I got out of the mortgage business, I still was dabbling with real estate investing and had some significant investments and investors involved. So I couldn't do it. I really couldn't go all in like I probably wanted to in hindsight. Um, so I think just not having that mindset of this is it, is what probably slowed us down from time to time. And there's been some times where I've gotten complacent. I mean, you get to a point where you've got enough residual coming in to pay all your bills, and you don't have to check the bank account every 24 minutes. Um, Sometimes that's nice. Like I said, it doesn't take millions of dollars to live free and be flexible with your schedule. So it's not believing bigger and sooner, quick enough, and probably getting a little complacent. Those are things that have happened over time. I can tell you where we've been over the past few years since Brittany's come out of high school is, we have been definitely head down and looking for the right people for us to work with, looking for people in the downline that we can invest time and effort into and help them get what they want quicker. So it's really just been about pouring time into people right now. And I wish we could have done that a little bit more over some of those years.
Well, I can't tell you how much I resonate with everything you just said. I feel like you're telling the story of my Ambit career as well. um, and I think looking back, you look at the people that are the top 10 income earners right now. They're the people that didn't hesitate. They're the people that did go all in. And if there's a lesson to take, that's definitely a big one for sure. Especially knowing the stories of everybody there. So, you know, hopefully people have that all-in mindset right now. And for somebody that's just getting started or maybe recently started, they've got the all-in mindset, kind of wanting to do whatever it takes. But I know as well, getting started in a business like this, even just logging into Power Zone for the first time, it can be overwhelming. I mean, there's a lot. It's a very simple business conceptually, but there's a lot of details to it, and obviously we don't need to know all the details. So maybe if you wouldn't mind sharing, what do you feel like somebody that's recently started or just getting ready to get started, where do they really need to focus that belief in energy in their first, let's just say, 30 days of business?
Let me just think about it. I think, and I learned this from you, Sean, I mean, making a complete written list and being committed and willing to go through that entire list. You making a list of 100 names, you make a list of 200 names, whatever, how big your list is, you've got to be committed to get all the way through that list. I mean, if you're digging for gold, I mean, is gold at 6 inches, 12 inches, 3 feet, 20 feet? Where's the gold at? And where are you going to quit? Because wherever you quit, somebody else is going to go find the gold just quicker. So you got to just figure out where that is. But I think that first 30 days, I'm not saying you have to call everyone on your written list, but you have to be committed, first of all, that you are going to call everyone on your written list, depending on how big it is and how much time you have. Maybe it's over 60 days, maybe it's over 90 days. So busy in your business that you don't have time to get to everyone. That's okay. That happened for Mary and I once we really got started with the business. But you've got to be committed that you're going to be making calls every day to invite people to take a look at the business. Now, I will say this first and foremost, and I know every upline, every sponsor is going to maybe a different opinion on this, chicken or the egg. I'm a big believer that you join the business, you get your first few customers, and then you focus on invite, invite, invite. And I think you find out who's really serious or not. If I sponsor somebody, I say, great, let's get together tomorrow. I want you to make a list of your 25 closest friends and family, and we're going to make calls for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. if they're not willing to do that with me, chances are they're going to suffer in this business. I mean, everyone's concern is, I invested 100. How do I get it back? Let's go get it back quickly. Let's be done with that. So then when you start talking to people, hey, brother Joe, can you take a look at what I'm working on? I'm working on something really exciting. How much money you made at it? Well, I just started yesterday. I made $100. Okay, I'll take a look at it. And then I've been in the business 30 days and I haven't made any money yet. So I do think it's very important that we get those customers very quickly. And then it's got to be invitation, invitation, invitation every day. And maybe it's 2 a day, maybe it's 3 a day, maybe it's 5 a day. But here's the other thing that I don't hear a lot of in Ambit is coaching. When you bought into the Ambit system, you bought an upline. You got people above you that have experience that are making money. Ambit's paying them a lot of money for them to coach you. So you got to find the person in your upline that's going to impart into you to help you get through the jungle quicker. So when you have a bad call, pick up the phone and call somebody. Your senior, your executive, maybe your national. Over time, you might develop some good running buddies that are cross-line to you. They're in different teams, but they're good friends now, and they're partners, they're sideline partners, and you're making each other better. So get those first few customers ASAP, make invitations every day and get coaching every day and build upon that. Just minutes a day, and let that compound until you can actually see this mushroom cloud going up.
Awesome. Fantastic advice. I totally agree. So switching gears just a little bit, let's wrap up on what is probably on a lot of minds tonight, which is this big expansion we have. I know you and Mary and I guess the whole family are making quite a commitment to that. Tell us a little bit about that, why you're so excited, and any thoughts you have, advice you have for folks that want to, take advantage of it as best as possible.
Well, I certainly wouldn't be going over there if I didn't know, I don't mean feel, I mean know, like I know the connections that we have over there, whether they be personal or whether they're being through people in the downline that we've been talking to, that we've been talking to them and done some Skype calls. And so I wouldn't be going over there if I didn't know day one, I've got activity starting day one when we're there. I've never done that with any market. I don't care if Oklahoma opened up. Oklahoma is like 2 hours away from my house, probably, to go find someone cold up there. I'd find someone in Texas that knew someone in Oklahoma. So I've done the exact same thing as multiple time zones away, a big ocean and a very expensive plane ticket. None of that matters if you've got the contacts to get you there or the contacts that are there. And because of just this technology, I mean, the systems that we have with Ambit, Skype, Uvu, whatever your Hangouts, whatever you prefer to use for your video conferencing, we can cross that gap without having to physically get on the ground and even consider going over to Japan. First, make sure you have contacts. 2, make sure you do some Googling on do's and don'ts while in Japan. They're big on customs. It's not super offensive to them if you can't speak the language, but some of the obvious customs can be very, very offensive, and you may not get a second chance. So that's a very big honor, very big on relationships, but those relationships are based upon introductions, and sometimes there's multiple introductions. So this is not, hey, we just opened up Indiana, I'm gonna go throw an ad in the college paper and see who I can get to show up to the auditorium. So I think you just need to be very smart, very wise. I know corporate is going to be very conservative in how they allow people to go over there to just, they're not going to let Ambit's name get tarnished from people being overzealous about their business. We got to keep a clean, cool head about this. And if you'll work your written list, if you'll play the who do you know game in the cold market, and when you can play the who do you know game there, that's fun. Once you break the ice a little bit, then you can break the ice a little bit further. You'd be amazed how much that expands these other territories that we're in. And listen, your greatest Japanese contact living in Japan right now could be on your 3rd, 4th, 5th level. I have no idea. But if you don't do the work to find them, don't worry, somebody else will.
Absolutely. You know, it's interesting, when I started doing that, obviously I heard about Japan. It is really rather amazing. You don't have to talk to too many people and ask them if they know or have a connection to Japan. And it seems like they're everywhere when you start asking, which makes me wonder how much business I've missed out on if I would have just started asking that for every state we do business in. You know? So you're so right. Don't do anything with Japan if you don't have a connection there. But I promise you, you've got one. You just got to start working your list. And if you work through your list, you can absolutely find somebody that you can stake some ground with over in Japan. So, you know, we've taken up plenty of time tonight. I know of yours as well. I appreciate the sacrifice of time for us here, Richard, greatly. On behalf of everybody that plugged in, we had quite a crowd tonight. So thank you so much, and appreciate everyone for joining us. Again, before you jump off, if you haven't given us a thumbs up, please do that. And as well, the details on that JD Powers compilation that I showed earlier, we'll put that up on Ambit Pros tomorrow, so you can check back there later. All right, thanks so much, Richard. Again, appreciate it. Till next time, say hi to Mary and the kids, and we'll see you soon, maybe in Japan.
Yeah, sounds good. Look forward to it. Y'all have a blessed night. Talk to you soon.